Good evening. Welcome to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at diabloii.net. I am joined on the show tonight by Nerdwards.
Hello.
And by Mugs.
Greetings.
I'm your host, Flux. We are recording this on a Monday evening, and we're going to talk about lots of PTR, patch 2.30 stuff. We've all done some testing and some new builds and some new gear. I even played a non-Demon Hunter for a little while, so you know it was a serious testing effort for me. And then went right back to Demon Hunters because monks are just slow and janky. And so are all the other classes, too. So we recorded this on a Monday. Usually we do these on Sunday, but we were all so busy celebrating the U.S. World Cup victory yesterday, we couldn't do it. And the acoustics inside those bald eagle masks are really bad, so... You guys agree, right?
Yeah, I actually had one of those.
So are you ready for the annual American post-World Cup tradition of going back to ignoring soccer for the next 3 or 4 years?
Yes. Sure, yeah.
Me too. Okay, speak no more of it. So the PTR has been going for what, like a week and a half now? Since
a week, right?
Yeah, not even a week, right?
Yeah, it's been about a week. Yeah.
It seems longer, or perhaps that's just the queues.
Yeah, the queues. They're eternal.
Yeah, it's been 6 days, or if you're in a Diablo 3 queue, eight and a half months. It's like dog years. They scale up backwards, right? So we're going to cover a bunch of stuff in the PTR. I've done a fair amount of testing, and you guys have done some changes to bounties that have the different Torment 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 feel comparatively. Some stuff about the new sets and new builds, greater rifts. Now there's no more wave of trials. GRift records and how it sucks if you can't fish on the PTR because you can't make a new game for 6 hours.
Yeah.
The snapshotting of gear and records, cube stuff, recipes. There's tons of content. So we'll probably end up skipping over some of this stuff because I don't want to go with a 9-hour podcast here. So just start off at the top. What have you guys been playing lately? You ahead, Mugs. You've been on the podcast in a while since you had a tragic motorcycle accident, as I recall. Yeah. That limited you to play. You had to play softcore last season because both your testicles were thrown off.
Both of my testicles were thrown off. My ISP issues.
Have you had them reattached, or are you still doing softcore?
I am still doing softcore for the season.
Sorry,
I know. I have to admit, I really do miss hardcore. I miss it mostly for the people that I played with because there were much better people in hardcore than I found in softcore. But I mean,
company excluded, obviously.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, of course. But
mostly the obnoxious elitist assholes like myself. But there are a few nice people in hardcore.
I mean, I kind of took a break from Diablo 3 because I got tired of trying to get a group together to make 100+ rift keys so I could actually push the leaderboards and get to a certain point, and I could only get so far in Rimmel Trials by myself, and trying to get a group so you can get 50 X keys so you can fish for the leaderboards like we were just talking about. It just got really old really quick, so I kind of fell off the train or fell off the wagon.
So did you not want to join one of the big leading streamer clans, or did you not have a good enough bot to be allowed in?
No, I didn't have I don't play enough. Yeah, I'm actually work.
Yeah, well, you need a better bot, obviously. Yeah. I mean, how are you going to get to P800 and stream all day if you don't have a really good bot?
Exactly. So, I mean, I was in some of their communities and stuff, and, a lot of the people were in there, but, they look at you and they're like, oh, you're not P800, so we're not going to take you into the 46, 49 speed runs and whatever else.
Alas. You could go with Nerdwards. He does, GR65s just for fun, right?
Yeah, right. I wish.
So what have you been doing on the PTR, Mugs? You took a little break and you just copied your account over when the patch went live. What have you been playing?
I've been playing the Barb because it's the highest and most well-geared character that I have in softcore, and due to lag, I didn't want to mess with any of the hardcore characters. After sitting in queue for a better part of 2 to 3 hours to get a game, I think I've played 3 games, and I've tested the bounties. Went through, did all the bounties, and T10, did all the... tried to push the leaderboards a little bit, like you said, without fishing. I mean, I only did it for an hour, maybe, and I was able to do a 57 pretty easily. So I know I could have gotten much higher easily with my current gear, maybe a 60, 61, if not higher.
So are you just doing the spin to win thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's really the only build out there. Spin to win.
So what did you tack on with the cube? What were your new items?
On the cube, I started messing with 3 different things. The first thing obviously was the furnace. So I put the furnace into the weapon slot because for barbs that was the biggest thing. In the armor slot, I messed with, what was the 2 items? The new set of bracers that every time you cast Hoda, it increases your attack speed by 100%. And then for the ring, I switched back and forth between focus and restraint and the convention of elements or the ring of royal grandeur. Or into Unity. I think I cubed all 3 of those, and I would swap the rings around depending on what I needed.
And did you find anything different than what you expected? I mean, did you theory craft that in advance, and then you tried it, and you were like, this actually sucks, or this is awesome? Or
yeah, I kind of I mean, I wouldn't really say it's theory crafting. It's like I just took the best items and said, let me put these on my character and see how I do. But, yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the difference, I ran a rift. I just did it for testing. I ran a rift right before I added all those items, and then I finished all the bounties, and then I added all the items, and the difference was night and day. I mean, it was like, when you just add all this power to your character, you went from like, hey, I'm killing stuff, I'm going at a nice pace, and I'm getting things done, to, oh my god, I'm a complete monster, and I'm just destroying things by looking at it. So, I mean, it was definitely, I mean, visual power creep, I guess you could say. Like, you could see it happen instantaneously.
And one of the funny things for the Barb is, like the Demon Hunter, we really got nothing new in this patch. I mean, there's a couple of new items, but in terms of, like, whole set workovers or whatever, I guess I figured the two strongest characters don't deserve anything new just yet.
Well, they got the new stuff last patch.
Yeah, we got a ton last patch, but I mean, this patch, those are the two characters that got by far the least. And I guess we don't deserve anything better, right? So we're already, those are the two classes that were doing the best. So obviously there's no new Barbarian set or anything to try out. You just tried the same build you've been doing, and it was better.
Right. Well, I mean, I wanted to try something that I knew, to get a real good sense of how these changes actually felt. And, I'm traditionally a monk player, but last season I decided to play a barb because Spin the Wind looked really fun, and I haven't played a barb since vanilla. And
you were one of the few, too. No one else really thought about that.
Yeah. Well, you got to change it up. I mean, it's a season. When you're playing seasons, otherwise you just get bored. I'm like, well, I mean, I guess unless you're Flux and you can play Demon Hunters nonstop for 2-3 years. But
we had really cool stuff the last two seasons. The next one, there's nothing new, though, so I've been trying the monk. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's like, one of those things. It's like I played monks, pretty much exclusively from vanilla all the way through last patch or last season, and I was like, okay, I need something different. I want to try. And the R6 set really didn't appeal to me, so that was one of the other reasons why I didn't play a monk.
And then you went softcore and played a Spin to Win Barbarian.
Yeah.
A really unique character path there, too. Okay, I mean, I joked twice now. Anyway, so in Nerdwards, what have you been up to on the patch? You're even worse than me. You play nothing but wizards.
Yes.
Have you tried new builds, do anything? Did you just tack on the existing stuff? What have you been doing?
I haven't touched builds because I actually experienced the opposite. The build that I'm using is the Aether Walker build with the wizard, and that got hit real hard by that CC nerf. When I did get into a Torment 10 game, I was getting lapped up by monsters, so I avoided that as much as possible. I did a few, I think I did 5 or 6 games of like T6 just doing bounty caches. Like farming crafting mats, messing with the cube a little bit. I did mess with the Veers set a tiny bit, but I don't want to spend a lot of time theory crafting on PTR, so I don't try to invest too much in the set stuff because that's going to change a lot in the next few iterations. But right now, I've just mostly been doing like the lore stuff, the story stuff, the Kanai's cube stuff, and testing out recipes and stuff.
Did you immediately jump 7 greater rifts?
No, I dropped.
Like
literally, like I'm clearing like 50s pretty regularly, pretty easily, like just farming 50s right now, like solo. And I did a Torment 10 game, greater rift 45 difficulty, and got lapped up like it was bad. Because my build is it's the Aether Walker build where you basically teleport around and stun everything, and that is severely affected by the new changes. I just got to adjust it. I just didn't want to spend 2 hours adjusting my build when I have to wait so long for a queue. I was like, I just want to play. So, of course, you can now get Aether Walker. You don't have to actually equip it to get that bonus, or you could tack on, as our other guest did, tack on a furnace immediately. Well, and that's the thing, is I literally have to shift my whole build. Like, my whole build is focused around using Ancient Parthenon Defenders and using stun-based procs to get damage reduction. So all of my defense was based around my stuns, along with the stuns being, primary form of defense. So now, like, that's completely destroyed that. Now, there's still you can still use, like, Frost Nova and, like, the new Halo of Arliss ring, and that still kind of mitigates that a little bit. But again, I just didn't want to spend the time doing that. I just wanted to run some bounties and check out the new stuff.
Good thing you were playing hardcore, huh?
It would just take too much time to shift things around. And yes, thank God I wasn't playing hardcore.
Well, you're not playing hardcore on PTR, are you, Flux?
Yeah, that's all I play.
Because you used to have a...
You're so elite. God, you're so good.
Well, I'm on the West Coast, and the PTR servers are on the West Coast, so I don't really have much lag. I mean, the game creation queues also vastly shorter in hardcore.
Yeah, I did notice that.
And I always post news about that, try to play campaign mode instead if you want to get in quickly. Of course, then you can't do the cube and stuff, but,
Yeah.
Or play a different difficulty level. If you go on, like, T1, everyone else is on T10, you seem like you get in faster. It seems like that should almost be like one of those urban legends, like we used to about Diablo 2, like run around the Fortune Shrine 3 times and then click and you get better drops, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have very few people in hardcore in the clan. I have this DII net PTR clan we were doing. Just they erased the old clans from the last PTR, so we had to start up anew. And it's just good to get in a clan because you get in there and there's 10 games open and you can just beg people and someone lets you join their game usually.
Yeah.
But it's been almost entirely softcore. It's like 95% of the people playing it are softcore.
Mm-hmm.
But constantly there'll be myself and a few other regular clan people in there, and I'll get on there and it'll say, 3 hours and 18 minutes queue, and I'll alt tab out and do some other stuff and come back in 20 minutes and I'm in a game. I mean, routinely it's 30 minutes or less getting in games in hardcore. And I'm doing T7, T8, T10. I mean, I'm not doing like,
If I do T8 in softcore on like a non-weekend day, like I did it this morning, I was in 45 minutes. So
yeah.
It's
gotten a little better. Over the weekend it was much better. I mean, I didn't play any yesterday because I was watching the World Cup all day, of course, and then afterwards I watched just endless replays of it. It's like you guys also, and of course the American Eagle helm makes it kind of hard to hard to see your power bar. But I mean, over Saturday and Friday it was getting much shorter. But I mean, who knows? I mean, really just try to find someone. The hard part is farming materials, and if we're making jokes about how you can't fish greater rifts, we should point out that fishing people try a greater rift, and if it's a high level one, then you try to get a good thing with zombies or a good tile set, and if it sucks, you just exit that game and start a new one.
Right.
And that's easier than ever now. I was actually thinking it might be too exploitable now because you don't need greater rift keys anymore. Mm-hmm. As you were just complaining about mugs, you spent all season trying to get greater rift keys. You don't need those anymore. You can just jump in immediately.
Right.
But when there's a 6-hour queue to make a new game,
it's a little different. Yeah.
But they really,
and of course, you need all the Roderick Cash materials also now to do the cube recipes.
But they really have done a good job with the balancing, though. I mean, to go back, I mean, fishing is still going to be, if you really want to get that number 1 spot or in the top 10 in softcore, maybe the top 20, fishing is definitely going to be the way you're going to do it. But for a majority of it, I mean, they've lowered the HP on the yellow mobs. They've evened out the HP on all the Rift Guardians. So it's like you're not just sitting there going, well, I didn't get all of these XY mobs and I didn't get Stone Singer, so this Rift is a bust. Like I was tearing through 57 like it was nothing. And it was
that was always the way it worked for Barbs, right? Then you get to the Guardian.
No, I mean Barbs, you would sit there and like you would skip yellow. Like you saw yellow, like on live. If I see yellow and I'm pushing a higher risk, I don't touch it. I just go to the next thing. But now I was actually killing yellow mobs, and like because I was able to kill like their HP was in line with the blue mobs, or the blue
and progress orbs.
Right, and you actually get them. So it actually and then they lowered the amount of progression you get from regular mobs. So it's like you're more inclined to have to fight the bigger mobs, or the harder mobs, I guess you could say. So that's actually, I mean, the fishing is still going to exist, especially if you're going to be the top 1% of the players out there. But I'm imagining a majority of us aren't really shooting for that number 1 spot. So
right,
Nerdwards does.
I mean, I don't know about number 1. I try to be as high as I can though.
Right, but I mean, if you're, once you get up to the high levels, then yeah, it's going to be.
There's always going to be at least a moderate level of fishing when you get to the high end, for sure.
But I mean, anything below that, they've definitely done a good job of. It seems of like evening it out.
I only ran one. I only ran one Rift, and it felt really good to me, just the pacing of it. Like I liked spending more time killing white mobs, and the Rift Guardian died really quick. Like. Way quicker than I anticipated, even with them balancing things differently. So I was pretty happy with that. Because God, I hate fighting Rift Guardians, especially as a wizard. It sucks.
Well, yes. I was the number 3 Demon Hunter for about 5 minutes earlier in the PTR. And I don't mean like the first second it opened.
Yeah.
I did a 49, and the top 2 were both 57. So I'm like, that's a little bit of a jump.
Yeah.
Like there were a bunch of mid and high 40s, and I was a 49. And then I'm like, there's 2 57s. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And now I'm like I don't know, 60 or 80 or 100 or something. I haven't even looked in the last couple of days, but I've up to 51. But speaking of fishing, the first time I had tons of keys. I had keys up to 50, and of course those all turned into just plus signs. You don't have rift keys anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the greater number.
But I'd only done a 44, so I was like, God damn it! So I had to work. I couldn't just jump to 50 even once I put on the Unity and the Mystery Ants hexing pants, which were huge buffs. And then I had to work it up there. And of course we were just mentioning how it's hard to fish. The first time I tried a 49, I got goddamn Burning West March, which is like the worst tile set, right? No density. And every elite in it was a butterfly. I'm like, this is bullshit. I had like wasps and a couple of those Act 5 spawner things. But every single elite, yellows or blues were butterflies. Mm-hmm. And I was using Zays and, like, steady aim, so the whole point is not getting close to things. And the butterflies just flap right past the Templar and come and sit on your head, I'm like, this is bullshit. So I did that in, like, 22 minutes. But I couldn't abandon it because then the guy was screwed, right? You can't cancel a Greater Rift once it's open.
Yeah.
and you have to finish it, and I can't fish, so I had to suffer through literally like 23 minutes to finish this rift, knowing that I would get nothing for it except the opportunity to open up another rift. I'm like, first world problems.
Yeah,
man.
right, yeah.
Like first world PTR problems.
Yeah, you can't even upgrade gems anymore if you fail the rift.
Yeah, that's an issue for later, so we'll get to that, but I'm wondering what they're going to do and change about that. It kind of sucks. Like, you finish it, and Ursi just sort of stands there and stares at you.
It's like, thank you.
You feel like you got to the party late, basically. Like there's a cool party, and you got the wrong time, and you get there, and they're, like, cleaning up, and the hostess is just, like, you know, they're just, like, picking up, you know, empty cups from the table.
Yeah.
And you're like, hi, I'm here. Okay. And then you leave. So, yeah, it's weird now that Ursi appears and just says, yeah, you're too late, asshole, sorry. The princess is in another castle, right? So anyway, so I did this horrible, I was at like 1446 when I finally finished the first floor, and at 61%. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I need like a conduit super teleport warp shrine. I can finish this entire 39% rift in 18 seconds. But no, that didn't happen.
Well, it seems like they buffed conduit too, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
30 seconds now,
again.
awesome. And it's one shots everything up to GR50.
Yeah,
that's how I've gone. But
yeah, it seems really strong again.
It might be too good even. That might be a bug. Remember, like the first time it was 15 seconds.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that with the rift progress things again. I'm wondering if that's legit this time or if that's gonna be a bug.
They confirmed it was real.
Oh, okay, cool.
Plus they're orcs too, so
okay, cool.
I mean, the last patch on the PTR, normal rifts dropped progress orbs, but they were purple, just like in Greater Rift.
Yeah, now they're orangey.
And I was like, that's awesome, this is so great. We had a whole podcast talking about how cool it was, and the next day some blue post like, hey, that's a bug, it's going away.
Yeah, it was like,
oh,
damn it.
Man. It's like, Santa's not real either, you know?
Yep.
It's like, god damn it. Snape kills Dumbledore. They just want to ruin everything. So I was able to get GR15. I am now in the 1,000 Shards Club, although its PTR doesn't count.
Proud of you.
So moving right along.
Congrats.
And so, yeah, I've mentioned the whole the cube thing. I mean, my theory crafting advance was very obviously, going to do Unity for hardcore. You kind of need that.
Yeah, it's your only ring.
And Mr. Yan's hexing pants are spectacular for the Barbarian Spin to Win or the Demon Hunter Natalias, because they buff your damage and your resource regen when you are moving,
right,
and decrease it when you're standing still. But you're never doing either. You're never standing still. And that has like totally. I haven't even changed the build that much, but you could, because it also buffs. It doesn't just buff your primary resource. It buffs both of them. Demon Hunters being the only class that has two. But ordinarily, discipline is really short because you're constantly vaulting or using smokescreen, and you need to use a 6th skill just to buff that back. People use preparation for that. But you don't really need that with Mr. Yan's hexing pants, because you're getting a full-time, like 30% resource regeneration buff to discipline, which you never got before. In the old days, patches ago, they had various skills. Night Stalker was a passive. You could get faster. You could get discipline from critical hits, and they took that out. But now, and there's really nothing that buffs passive any fast. I mean, that buffs discipline. All of your regen only buffs your hatred, and now you can get it with those pants, which makes a huge difference. So actually, I've been considering what I might change that 6th skill to. Change it to, one of the trap skills or something. Some of those buff your damage.
Yeah.
I haven't actually gotten into that much, but I'm sure there's going to be softcore. Demon Hunters are going to be doing like GR70 now. I mean, there's way opportunity for huge increases.
I think the highest on the PTR is like a 68, 69 for Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be crazy. I haven't been keeping. I mean, obviously, not everybody's on the PTR, and people don't have much time to play, etc. So it's kind of hard to tell how much they're going to buff. But the single-player power creep is just insane, especially in softcore. I think it's going to be. You were mentioning that earlier with your barbarian, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it's the power creep. I say this. I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was just like, I don't know how Blizz does it, but like every time there's a new season, I'm like, wow, this is like the best thing they could have ever done, and now I feel stronger and I'm even better. But yeah, the power creep this season has to be the biggest jump that we've seen yet. I mean, by far. I mean, most people are going to have level 70 gems or whatever the heck it is, the 60 plus gems, that you've never saw before. So I think that's going to be something that's really cool too. And the Kanai's cube is But
I do wonder about like the monk and the witch doctor and
the monk is insane.
Earlier. Well, Nerdwards was saying earlier with his wizard, CC builds. I mean, if you look at the highest monk Greater Rifts now, they're entirely about CC.
No, the
monk, monsters don't even move.
The monk right now, I think, they're at 74 on the PTR. Like they've actually done a G74. Like
obviously the CC is not crippling them.
They're not doing
honestly,
CC at all.
It's not crippling the wizards either. I just haven't moved stuff around yet. Like,
you're just a filthy casual.
Yeah, I just haven't had time for 8-hour queues in softcore. So I've been chilling.
But the monks are using a new fist, the Shenlong's set, and something like 2 pieces of like the R6 and like 2 pieces of this other set, and they're just walking through rifts, like blowing things up instantly. It's actually pretty amazing to watch. I'm expecting the monks to be adjusted and downwards a little bit.
Yeah, we'll mention monks briefly because I did test out the new monk set, which is 2-piece bonus. Every third hit of your spirit generators gives up exploding palm. The 4-piece bonus is your 7-sided strike deals its total damage with every hit, which is just absolutely insane, by the way. And the 6-piece bonus is your 7-sided strike detonates your exploding palm, even if the monster hasn't died yet, which is almost irrelevant. They probably should switch the 4 and the 6. So the 4-piece set, you get 7 hits with the skill, hence the name, right? Except one of them has 9, I believe, but.
And there's a
the total damage
that's going to buff that to 14,
which doubles it, which hits 7 more, which Jay Wilson did, of course,
yeah.
right? But anyway, so 7-sided strike, the basic version is 5,600% weapon damage total over 7 hits. The 4-piece bonus makes that total damage with every hit.
Damn.
And as you just mentioned, there's a new monk fist that can give you 7 more hits. So do you know what 14 hits? And the best rune effect of that is 8,290% damage for the 7 hits.
Jeez.
Do you know what 14 times 8290 is?
A lot.
115,990% damage. That's 116,000% damage from this skill.
You want to know the sad part, though? It's still not the best monk set out there right now.
Well, why would it be? That's not very strong.
I mean, you're like throwing all these big numbers, but like it's R6, which is the raiment 6-piece, is still with the Shenlongs is still out damaging it.
Yeah, so the new set became. Remember when like Reinhardt used to be that freeze things and they would explode.
Yes.
And it was too powerful. And Blizzard's like, we're going to change this, and it became like 10,000% damage. We were all laughing. It's over 10,000. Blah blah blah. Like how could anything in the game ever be 10,000% damage? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now
here's 115,000, and it's not the best. So anyway. So the new set, it's a 6-piece, the same 6 slots as ever. It's got an unpronounceable name with too many vowels, like all the community managers. Uliana,
yeah. Uliana, I think. Is you right?
Uliana, I don't know, anyway. Uliana apostrophe AIAIAS.
Is that really? Nuh-uh.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Well, something like that.
I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's
so
not.
The way the set,
make me look it up.
as you're saying, I think a combo of gear is better. I didn't try it that much. I just farmed enough to get the 6-piece and try that. And so basically, you just punch stuff, and your spirit generators pop exploding palm. And then after you get a few things with that, you do a 7-sided strike, and everything blows up and dies. And then you run to the next group. Basically, you kind of run past any stray individual monsters. I would just dashing strike into a big crowd. And I'm using pull, which is what? Cyclone strike?
Yeah,
I forget the
Cyclone
name.
Strike.
So you pull them, exploding palm, it spreads to a bunch. It works better if you use, like, lightning fist or something hits a bunch of targets at once, because then you get multiple exploding palms at once. I didn't even bother with Gundo gear.
Yeah, I was going to say Gundo's gears, and Madstone is another one you can add.
I don't even think you need those.
You don't, but they help. I mean, Gundo gears actually make a big difference. Madstone you don't really need.
It seemed like that was a better set for really high level. I was doing it on T6, and everything would die so quickly it was kind of irrelevant. It was kind of like with Gundo gear. Like, you needed a lot of monsters that would really pack up around you to get the full benefit of it. And if you kill everything in just one boom, then it's gone. But the problem with the 6-piece set is you have nothing else to do. So you just punch stuff, exploding palm, and then you kill them all with 7-sided strike. And there's a die bow that cuts the cooldown of 7-sided strike by 60%. Yeah, I didn't have that, so it was a little slower. I did try it with the Obzod ring.
Right.
I tried it with the double helm bonus for diamond, and I tried it with some other cooldown stuff.
Well, Leorix, you can't. It
doesn't work, right?
Yeah, you can't cube Leorix right now. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work anyway. But I was still getting 12.5 from one diamond anyway. But yeah, it's just kind of boring though. I mean, it's just the same thing. You run to the mob, pull them, bang, 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 explode, and it's great when they're all dying in one hit. And then if you like mistime it or you don't get the exploding palm right, and then you don't kill them, you have really no damage except for your punch, or your cyclone
the Shenlongs.
Yeah, so I thought this would pair better with something else, but I was just trying it. I didn't have Shenlongs yet. I just tried the quick version of it, but I found it kind of boring. So I was thinking probably a combination of different stats would be better, and as you just said, that is absolutely better. So I think even the 2-piece bonus, or if you get 4 pieces of this, where you get the whole 7-sided strike damage, that's just obscene.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Lion's Claw, because the Lion's Claw is not currently in the game, I think that might push it to even with R6, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if they're going to buff Ulianas or nerf Shenlongs, one of the two, because they have to. They did that last time when the R6 bonus was like Raiment 6 was everybody was just running around with 2 pieces and a flying dragon and beating the hell out of everything, and they're like, no, that's not how we wanted it to work. So If that's what they're figuring out that people are doing, they might do the same thing.
Yeah, so the Shenlong set is the 2 Monk Fists, and the new thing is you get increased damage with the more spirit you have, and then once you're at max spirit, you get, 300% buff, but then you don't regen until it's empty or something?
Right, then you don't regen, and it goes empty, and it will go empty.
So the play style, obviously, is you hit things until you have your max spirit, and then you just drop a bunch of bombs. You drop a bunch of heavy spenders as fast as you can.
You don't even drop spenders. You just use, it's just a generator set. You just use generators and go to town with, like, COE and all the rest of the stuff, like 300% weapon damage. Like, you just tear through mobs. Like, billions.
You don't even need a wave of light or anything? You just do it with punches?
I mean, I think they were using... I was looking at one of the streamers that was doing it, and I don't remember the specifics, but for the most part, he was just punching the shit out of everything.
Well, that's kind of your only option, right? But yeah, so Shenlong does not pair with the Ultimas, Ulianas, because that's... Well, maybe it does, but I mean, 7-sided strike is not a spender, so I was thinking that wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if you're getting like 600% bonus damage anyway, maybe it's good enough. But yeah, so I didn't play Monk enough to have any expertise on any of this shit, but I tried the new set out and I wasn't overwhelmed by it by itself. But just getting free Exploding Palm everywhere is just crazy for a 2-piece bonus.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, the Monk set is... I'm actually happy for it just because as a longtime Monk player, they're taking the 2 skills that I've actually loved the most, but... hardly, well, EP you used all the time, like, in vanilla, that's all everybody used. But, 7-sided strike was one of those skills that, like, was always really cool, and, it was even in the video when, before Diablo 3 vanilla was released.
A signature skill.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I want to use this, and we never ever used it, so it's like now we finally get to actually touch it.
It's kind of the same with the Crusader and Falling Sword. Like, that was part of their, like, demo, too, and they really took both those skills and, like, tried to one-up them.
But it wasn't just a demo. Do you remember the little cartoon that they did where like the monk
where they showed like what he played like, where they got like the zoomed in view and stuff, like one of the first reveals?
No, it wasn't a god reveal. It was almost like a movie. Like he went to it was back in vanilla. It was before vanilla was released. There was like this movie of like the monk, and he went in and he goes into, I think it was like somewhere in Act 2.
Alcarnus.
Yeah, Alcarnus, and then he meets up with like some of the demons, and it's like a person, then it turns into a demon, and he uses 7-sided strike to.
Oh yeah, duh! I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end game cinematic thing.
Yeah, the end game cinematic.
Yeah, they did those for the last 3 classes to be revealed, and then people were like, "Why can't you go back and make one for the Barbarian and Witch Doctor?" Like, because they're making a game, goddammit. Yeah. No time for that.
But yeah, that was like. From then, I'm like, I want to be able to use that. It was like you watched it with eyes wide open while we're playing the glorified beta version of Diablo 3, going, I want to do this,
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that it's actually part of the game now.
Well, the best thing about those cinematics was the Demon Hunter was the last one. It had the most cheesy dialogue in the history of cheesy dialogue. It was like Transformers movie cheesy. And she's like, I will kill them until there are no more to kill. Something like that. It was just appalling. But, the visuals were cool.
Visuals were cool.
Yeah, that's really all that matters, right?
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
It's a Blizzard game. No one cares about lore. Oh, wait.
Except me.
It's Nerdwards does. So, any other new set stuff? I mean, we haven't tried them. Obviously, people can read the patch notes and such. And, the PTR has only been a week, so I'm sure we'll get to try. Are you going to get back on your monk at some time here, monks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try. It's really going to be dependent on how much the queue times fall off, because you can sit there and go, okay, I'm going to set my computer up and I'll check it every once in a while for 2 hours, but then it's like, I really want to be doing, if I'm going to be sitting on the computer, I want to be doing other things than sitting in the queue for 2 hours and try to play. So it's that kind of thing. If the queue times drop off and the popularity drops off a little bit, then yeah, I'll definitely be playing some more.
Blizzard said they would turn the 2,000% drop buff on and off occasionally, then on past PTRs, and usually once that's off, suddenly you can get in a game in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Once that happens,
of course you can't get the whole new 6-piece set in 5 minutes either, but you got to work for it.
Yeah, well, don't forget they're going to be doing Season 4. They're going to be starting Season 4 officially on the PTR too, and that usually drives, the
They should have done it to start with. It was dumb.
I agree.
Yeah, that's my pet peeve about they should end seasons as soon as PTR starts, just on the PTR, I mean. Because it's so hard to get in the game already, and then you're splitting people up additionally between seasons that are going to be ending very shortly and probably get wiped anyway.
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
Yeah.
Even if Season 4 wasn't ready to roll, just end Season 3.
I agree. I'm actually ready for them to end Season 3 on live. So they can do that too.
You have to wait for that until after the expansion announcement coming up at Gamescom in 3 weeks.
I hope so.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
God, it's
so any other Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Oh, well, yeah, I was gonna say a lot of what you guys are saying. Like, I haven't touched the Archon set. I know that like reports are saying that it's feeling powerful, but there's still some things lacking from it. It still needs some. It's not where like Akarat's Champion and Wrath of Berserker are in terms of like long cooldown like super abilities. So it looks cool and it's got some cool like things to it, but it's going to take a few passes before it gets to where it needs to be, I think. But it has found some cool spots with mixing in like Tal Rasha's set with it or Delsair's set with it, so that's pretty cool. But like you were saying, you know, the queue times are going to go down eventually, so I'm kind of waiting for that to get in and really test those, because they'll also have a few passes at that time too. So I'll be able to get in, won't have queue times, and I can just test stuff.
So one of the other big testing things, you guys haven't done enough games to get that much detail on it, but Torment changes. We now have T7 through T10, and I've played a fair amount of T7, T8, and T10. I haven't had a chance to do T9, you know, cancel my PTR subscription, right? But I can't play literally every day, sadly, but
yeah.
But so I initially started off in T7, and I could not tell it wasn't T6. I mean, you know, they go up by 5. We were debating this in the past podcast, if they're going to make them jump more. They do go up by 5. Mm-hmm. So T6 is equivalent to GR25, and then they go GR30, 35, 40, 45 is the equivalency. And I didn't notice any difference in T7, I mean, in terms of playability or difficulty. You know, T8 seems a little bit slower for my gear, and then T10 was a little bit slower. T10 I was having to kite bosses and move around. I wasn't dying any because I'm hardcore, we don't do that. And I'm also using Unity, so I had pretty high toughness and stuff.
Yeah. Ordeal
but it was definitely very noticeably slower kill times. So what Torment guys did you try on, and how did it feel different?
Torment 10, and I got face rolled, like I said earlier, though.
Was it dying or killing power, or both?
My killing power is fine. It was.
But you do GR50 all the time, right? So yeah. That's harder.
Again, it's just 100% the nerf and me not fixing my build. Like I wasn't tweaking, I'm fine. But the CC really hit the Aether Walker build hard. It completely took away the ability to stun. I mean, if you can't stun things, you're not getting your bonus damage from having things in range of you, and you're not getting your damage reduction from APD. So it really hurt that build. But again, I could just switch some stuff up and do it. I'm just waiting for lower queue times to do it.
I could do it too if I wanted to.
Well, then do it, bro.
I don't want to. So what tournament have you played on, Muggs? Did you notice
I've done
changes?
T8, T9, and T10. So a couple, the 3 times.
Could you feel a progression? How did it compare to GRs?
Yeah, you could definitely. I mean, T8 felt like the new T6, I guess you could say. Like I was still killing stuff pretty quickly, not having zero issue, just kind of walking around, letting my whirlwinds destroy them. I mean, they weren't getting gibbed before I reached them like it was in T6. T10 was noticeably slower, for my, but again, I did T10 before I got the Kanai cube fixed. So after I did the cube, it felt fine. I mean, it felt slow. The rewards for T10 versus speed versus T8 in the speed didn't feel like they matched up. And I'm wondering if that's one of the things that they're going to work on, because it was significantly longer to kill, say, a boss in T10 and to clear and do all the rest of your stuff. And like the reward, I didn't feel like I was rewarded anymore. Now it's hard to tell with the 2,000% weapon buff. Not weapon,
drop buff.
Yeah. But like from the caches, I didn't feel like I was getting any more, any extra mats that made it worth the extra time. So that was one of the things that was definitely noticeable. But, I mean, the XP was huge. I mean, I'm 656, P656 or something around there. And, I was watching my bar go up. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I did notice that too, actually. The experience felt good. I will say I forgot, I did run T6 with the same build, so even with the CC nerf, and I was able to walk through it as I am now. So you don't really start seeing the CC changes till you get into the higher difficulties, I don't think. At least with the wizard build, I didn't. Because I did a couple full games of T6 bounties just to get mats and stuff, and I did them easy peasy.
Yeah, I had a whole paragraph written in my notes here from the first couple of days where basically saying exactly what you just said, Muggs. Is T6 worth it? What is the benefit except for EXP? And, of course, you can't really tell about the item drop buff since, the current buff on, right? So maybe, in the current game, T6 feels mandatory because you have to get... Obviously, it's gotten very easy, but at one point when it was a little harder to get to it, it still felt mandatory because you got, much better odds of key wardens, 100% chance of Uber drops. You always got the Heraldic Crash legendary. So there was a real reason to do T6, and it doesn't feel like there's that much of a buff for T10. However, having played a few more over the days, I noticed that some of the drop stuff. For one thing, you get a lot of double drops of Death's Breath on T10. It's like 50% maybe of the elites, and on T7 it's like 5%.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
On T8 it's maybe 15-20%. I mean, it's hard to tell, right? I was counting in the game how many I'd go between them and stuff, but it's considerably more. And I started the PTR with about 2,000 death breaths in my seasonal stash. I have 0 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they go really fast.
Yes.
You start doing a lot of this gambling and the new cube stuff. We'll get to the whole cube recipes in a minute, but getting double death breath drops does make a difference. Except, of course, if you can kill the boss 50% faster on T8, you just kill twice as many bosses, right? So,
well, that's just it. Like somebody's going to math it. We're going to say, this.
Once we have the numbers, certainly it'll help.
But I think with power creep, I think eventually most people are going to wind up in T10 just because it's bigger.
Well, and then it goes to 11, perhaps. Yeah. Also, I don't know if you guys did any Hellfire Amulet stuff. I've been doing Ubers every game, and on T7 and up, you often get 2 organs per Uber.
Oh, wow.
Usually you get 2 on T7. On T10, you usually get 3.
So it's still 100% at T6.
I didn't try T6. you tried T6. How was it?
I didn't run Ubers, actually. I was actually curious about that, if the drop rates were still the same and they just scaled up. I didn't even think to look at that.
I haven't done enough keyboardings to really tell. It's kind of hard to.
If you're getting double on higher difficulties,
you only get 1 per game.
That would lead me to believe that you were.
I did not get. It's definitely not 100%. Of course, now they just drop Infernal Machines directly, so you've already got a 4 times benefit basically, right?
Right.
So I saw some whole theory crafting thing a guy did about for Demon Hunters, like how much faster it is to get a Hellfire Ammo now. He says it's basically about 10 times faster at the high end, in terms of getting machines directly instead of keys, and getting 2 or 3. So anyway, the first time I did Ubers on T7, I got 2-1-1-2 for organs. Huh. I did it on T10, and I got 2-3-3-3 and 3-3-3-2. I did it twice on T10. Did all 4 of the Ubers. So you almost always get at least 2 of each organ, and usually 3. So you can almost always make 2 Hellfire Amulets per game once you got the keys in the Ubers.
Yeah. Which
is certainly faster when you're also farming the keys 4 times faster, or not farming the keys.
And they buffed Hellfire Amulets to come with sockets now.
Yeah, and they always roll with the socket. Of course, so I still got mostly garbage, but I actually did get 1 potential BIS. Unfortunately, it was cold damage. But I did get one that was cold damage with double crit. So,
Well, they said, somebody, I don't know, but, it's Reddit math, but somebody on Reddit said that you would average about 1,000 Hellfire Amulets to get something usable and live, and now it should be about 150 to 250 Hellfire Amulets.
I did about 8. I got about 8 and got one that was usable. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately, the wrong element, but relatively speaking, it's better than anything I've gotten in live, and I've done like 50 this season, so it certainly helps. But yeah, so it's hard to tell what. And also, you often get 2 legendaries from the caches on T10. I mean, 2 of the cache ones. I got 2 Ring of Royal Grandeurs from the same cache at one point. So it's not just a random legendary that they're tacking on because of the drop rate buff.
Right.
Yeah.
But as you said a minute ago, Muggs, until it's not 2,000% drop rate, it's really hard to say how these compare, except for lots more experience.
Yeah.
And one funny thing I enjoyed, I got the since the goblins are in double pairs, I got 2 Gilded Barons and got the 50 million gold conquest just right on that screen. So
oh wow,
that was a nice T10 feature. I'm not using any gold find gear, but I'm Paragon 620 or something, so I have that's the last one you put points in, right?
Right.
But I'd never gotten that one before, except for really farming for it intentionally, like in the ruins of Corvus or something. And I just got it on one screen. I was like, well, that was easy. I got 57,000 gold buff on literally one screen.
Yeah.
And gold runs out, too, so you're doing a lot more crafting and stuff now. And
I don't think I could ever run out of gold, dude. I really don't.
I had 1.5 trillion. I am now broke. So
seriously?
The vast majority of that was one item, though. I was trying to get my Balefire Caster, one-handed crossbow. I was trying to roll the damage into CDR. And when you roll your damage on it, it's like maybe every 6 or 8 rolls you will get a non-damage stat. And I just could not get CDR. I kept getting plus damage. I kept getting vitality. I kept getting reduced resource cost. But you have to have CDR for the Natalia's build, and I did that. It was up to 17 million per roll, and suddenly I noticed I had no gold left. I'm like, wow, I just spent 1 trillion gold on this crossbow.
Wow.
But that was not a real wise choice of my economic value. That was just PTR being crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I needed that bow perfect so I could try to push like GR60 in hardcore. So until I got it perfect, I wasn't going to bother. And now I'm not bothering because I'm broke.
There you go.
So speaking of economy, you guys haven't done a huge amount of crafting and stuff, but there's a lot of interesting new recipes in the cube. And as I said, I spent 2,000 death breaths in 4 days, so they can go away quickly. So, cube recipes. We'll just start at the top. Number 1, cube power extract. That's what we've been talking about all along. So you guys happy with how that works? Do the costs seem fair? Do you like farming every cache in the game? Are you already traumatized by Act 5 bounties?
Go ahead.
I haven't. I've done I think 3 or 4 different games, and I actually was going in with the strict purpose of just farming materials, so I didn't hate it. I actually kind of liked getting in and being able to see more parts of the content and stuff. As to whether or not I'll hate it after farming it for a while, we'll see, because I feel like we will eventually anyways. It'll just get back to where it is now. But how
about that 1 minute idiot arrow? That's awesome, right?
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I do.
That doesn't always work, by the way.
Yeah,
it's a little buggy.
But it's but yeah, no, I didn't hate it for sure. I was running different acts than Act 1, and it was just nice to be running different content and have a reason to do it, I guess. Really more than anything, but how long that will last, we'll see.
So how about you, Muggs?
I didn't mind because, if you do the bonus act, and if you follow it, so if you start on the bonus act,
in order,
you do them in order, you get double caches. So it didn't really feel it felt like a lot of work, and some of the stuff in Act 3 when to find the second level, and it's a 5-minute, 10-minute run just looking for that on its own was kind of a pain in the butt, but it really didn't bother me. Like Nerdwards was saying, it's just nice to be in something that's not a rift, or Act 1. It's I know Act 1 by heart, and I can run it with my eyes closed, but actually going through, I don't think I've ever really run bounties in Act 5. I've done Act 3
until now.
Yeah, I mean, I've done Act 3 for one of the items. I've done Act 2 just because I'd get bored and I was looking for the gloves of worship way back when they were really good. But I don't think I've ever run Act 5. And there's all kinds of stuff in Act 5 that was just
really
wow,
cool.
This is really interesting. Yeah, and I did, what's his name, Urziel?
Yeah,
the guy in Act. Yeah, I mean, he literally one-shot me in T10.
He's fun. He is fun,
because I forgot the fight. I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, okay, he's starting fire. I'm like, no big deal. I'm like, all of a sudden, boom, you're dead. And then one of the interesting things is you can't res in the boss fight anymore. It put you outside. That was something that was kind of interesting. So you can't just zerg it and be like, well, let me just res.
Man, you couldn't res in a boss fight? God, that must suck. What is that?
Well, I mean, that was just
you
one
died,
of those
you
things.
couldn't turn up where you were 1 second later?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, that was an interesting thing. I'd never seen that in Diablo 3. Normally it was oh, I died, I'll just res here and keep fighting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that regard, it wasn't so bad. It's nice to not just be doing rift after rift after rift after rift after rift after rift. I think eventually people aren't going to need... once you get the mats, you're going to have the mats that you need, so you're really not going to be pushing, unless you're really trying to shoot for that one specific legendary, which are the later recipes that you're going to talk about.
Mm.
Yeah, the reforging legendary, which is crazy. I haven't done that one yet. That's the second second recipe. I shouldn't use them by numbers, because I'm sure they'll change the sequence around at some point. But they've given them these really long, ponderous names that no one remembers. It's like Kane's jockstrap of legendary hope and wishness. You're into lore, nine words, 9-ball,
oh my God.
nerd walls. Have you actually read the names of these and oh, that's a cool reference back to some guy from Diablo 1, or you're I don't know, there's words there?
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's not really that deep of a reference, though. I mean, none of them are that deep, but yeah, they're pretty cool.
Who's this Kane guy?
Yeah, I mean, everyone,
Kane's
it's not really,
somewhere.
that's not really, I guess it's a lore reference, essentially, but everyone knows who Kane is. It's not really that it's not digging that deep, I guess. And then there's
he's the one the butterfly lady killed, right?
Yeah, and then the extraction one is something Taurasha, right? Which is he's been around.
Beats me, dude. I don't know.
Forever. So yeah, it's not the lore things you're getting are going to be from the items, the flavor text, really, more than anything else.
Oh, speaking of lore, what do you think about Zoltan Kuhl's return? Do you like his rambly dialogue?
I love that he's there, but this little bit made me want so much more quests and stuff to do, because I liked having a reason to go to a place and do a thing. I liked somebody telling me what to do for the first time in a while. So
there is that new quest that they haven't done too in Runes of Sassuring that I'm actually kind of, what's it called? Saskatchewan?
Secheron.
Yeah,
and it's
Did you guys find Abdu Harazad guy?
Yeah, I did actually.
You can find him in the Ruins of Secheron and save him, and he tells stupid stories.
Yes, he does.
There's more lore for you.
Yeah, and when the Kanai, the whole Kanai's throne room and stuff was really, really cool with the barbarian spirits and stuff. All that stuff was really cool, and it just made me want more. So it's it was really awesome. But in about 10 minutes I was done with whatever needed to be done, and then now I was just kind of looking around at walls and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited about the lore stuff. I just wish there was more of it.
Yeah, so the whole thing with the caches, you have to do all these different caches. Oh, that's another thing for Torment. On Torment 5, you get 2 of the materials per cache, and 2 in the bonus one. It seems like T7 and T8 you get 3, and then T9 and T10. I haven't done T9, but T10 you get 4 of each. So
okay,
that's definitely. I mean,
T8 you get 4 of each. So T10 there's no upgrade.
I thought I only got 3 on T8. I don't remember.
No,
that.
T8 I definitely got 4 of each because I got 8 because I got 4 from each cache.
Yeah, it's only 4 on T10, so there's not much. Maybe they should go to T5. They give you 5 on T10 or something, but that's definitely a thing, especially when you get the bonus cache, so you're getting double that.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about doubling the amount of time you spend, or, cutting in half the amount of time you spend running Act 5 bounties or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As we were joking, the idiot arrow, that used to be 5 minutes until you got the idiot arrow, now it's 1 minute. And there are a few bugs. The ones I noticed are bugs. It's when, like, you're trying to find a dungeon, and then you need to go to level 2 of that dungeon. Like, it won't give you an arrow to find the dungeon in the first place.
Right,
yeah.
Once you get into the dungeon, it will point to the second part of it immediately. So if you get the ones with like a 3-stage thing, you can have it run around for a while. I got one in the what's that giant Act 2 surface area? That's like the dead desert.
Desolate Sands.
Yeah, I got one there. I had to find 3, free the captured goblins or whatever the hell it was. And there was no arrow. I was in there for like 20 minutes, man. I'm like, this is the biggest lair. This is why no one does Act 2 bounties. At least once you have a Pride's Fall Helm, but that's Act 3.
That's Act 3.
But, yeah, if the arrow didn't work, it's like, this is just going on forever. I'm just running and running. I was on T10, so I couldn't really just run, get huge mobs after me, because I don't have that much killing power with my character I was playing on T10, and it's hardcore, but yeah, that one was pretty painful. But generally, yeah, I enjoyed it. The thing I'm wondering, the other cool thing is when you get, there's lots more bounties back in now, including all the ones, kill the act bosses, kill the special bosses that they took out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Basically anything that's a cutscene that you used to not get, now you get. And when you kill them, you get this gigantic blue stash.
Yes.
Which, the first time we open that, when the 2,000% buff is gone, we're going to be some sad motherfucking
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
What is it, like 15 legendaries now?
Well, that's the thing. That's one of the things that I was actually wondering. I mean, are they going to make boss farming more viable? Because even with the 2,000% weapon, I mean, why do I keep saying weapon damage? 2,000% drop buff. Yeah. I mean, even with the 2,000% magic find or whatever, like you said, there was, like, it rained legendaries coming out of that chest. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, even if you scale that back, to like normal, like, you kill a Rift Guardian and you don't see that many drops from a Rift Guardian, and they drop a lot of stuff. So I'm wondering if boss farming is going to be something that they're implementing back into the game to kind of, make it so, okay, well, you're farming bounties and, you're not getting the Rift level drops, but hey, if you go kill Belial or Urzeal or Skeleton King, you're going to get bonus drops. Because it seemed like an exorbitant amount of loot that came out of those chests.
Yeah.
I think it's just the buff.
I mean, it's probably just the buff, but I do like that they added in those chests, like that they are giving us that now, because there's moments where chests are popping up that didn't give chests before, so it's cool.
Those are only there when they're a bounty, by the way. If you just do the Skeleton King normally or something, you do not get that chest.
Oh, really?
Good to know.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. I had one of the quests that the very last, what is it, the Underbridge, the last thing you get before Siegebreaker. There's a little dungeon right before Siegebreaker.
Right. Where you stay.
And I went, I had that bounty, and thought, I'll just go do Siegebreaker. He's like 5 seconds away. And I'd killed him, and I'm like, where's the chest? I'm like running around this whole area, like, is it hidden behind a rock or something? Like it's the camel on the back of the dollar bill. It's behind the pyramid. I couldn't find it. And it's not there. So you have to actually do a bounty to get those. Uh-huh. But, of course, you can do, you get the Butcher or something as a bounty, even if you don't need the Act 1 materials, right? You're just going to go pop him if you get 5 legendaries from the chest.
I can't see a reason why you wouldn't want all the recipes seem to be using things in same amounts. It's not like you'll ever be like, well, this recipe only takes Act 5 materials and this recipe only takes Act 1 materials. It seems like they all just take 1 of each or 4 of each or 5 of each or 3 of each. So I think you're always going to be farming all the bounties or all the acts.
I was surprised the lack of RNG in that. Maybe they're going to diversify it over the course of the PTR. Because everything else in the game is so much. Not, I guess before in caches you knew you were always going to get like 5 Rift Keys or 7 Rift Keys total, that kind of thing. So maybe it's not totally, but... So anyway, next recipe. Upgrade rare item, recipe number 3, which I'm sure is, got some dramatic lore name that Nerdwards can tell us all about later. So upgrade rare item. You put a rare item plus 50 of each of the 3 kinds of materials, white, blue, and yellow, and 25 death's breaths, and it gives you a random legendary of that item type. And that, I put a news post about that saying, this is wildly OP, use it while you can. Assuming until you run out of all your death breaths, like certain people have done.
Yes.
So this works with any rare item you pick up. I was doing with amulets, first of all. So basically, every time when you gamble amulets, it's what, about 1 in 10%? About 1 in 10 is legendary.
And
you'll get like 8, you get like 7 or 8 yellows and 1 blue.
Mm-hmm.
With this recipe, you can turn every single one of those yellows into a legendary.
Yep.
Guaranteed. And not even counting all the, if you pick up rare amulets, and obviously if people do this trying to get weapons, you'll. They mentioned Super Kadala, remember, months ago, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say that's Super Kadala. I mean, it lets you really focus something.
So if you get, you're trying to get a, trying to get a furnace or something, you'll just find all the two-handed maces and just take them in this.
Well, that's just it. Like, if you're looking for a specific item, like with my barb, when I was trying to find mighty belts and I had to gamble belts, when I'm trying to get that specific item, or if you're trying to gamble cloaks as a demon hunter or whatever that specific item is for your class, like now you can actually target it, instead of saying, okay, I got to weed through. It's better, when people are like, it's better to gamble helms on your demon hunter for your monk than it is to do it the other way. Now you can actually focus farm those kinds of things.
Yep.
You do get you can get sets from it also, by the way. It's funny you mentioned cloaks. I tried a whole bunch of those with cloaks. I couldn't. I was having trouble getting an ancient Natalia's cloak. And I did every single rare I got from a full inventory of gambling, which, of course, filling up your blood charge takes like 7 minutes on the PTR now, or less, 2 minutes.
You get a lot more blood charge
500 or something.
Too.
Yeah.
You get double Blood Thieves and you have to go back to town, basically. I mean, it's just crazy. But anyway, I did every cloak, every yellow cloak that I had, which is probably 25 of them, and got every single one legendary. I'm like, oh, that sucks. You can't do sets with this. And then the next day I did some other item and got like 5 sets out of like 10. So I guess it was just RNG.
RNG is RNG.
You didn't pray to Lucifer.
I think I did it with weapons the next day. I did it with one-handed crossbows, and I got a ton of Donettas and Natalia's crossbows. I'm like, okay. Actually, at that point I was trying to get either a Calamity or a Balefire Caster Ancient, and so of course I got green ones. When you want green ones, you only get orange ones because Wyatt's watching. Wyatt's always watching. So that recipe, I think, is OP. I think I'll probably adjust the costs on that, make it cost some blood shards or something. Or
I don't think it's that bad. I really don't think it's that bad, to be honest with you.
Well, you have infinite materials now, except for Death's Breath.
Right, but the amount of mats from the caches seemed like on that one was a bit higher. Wasn't it 4 of each or 3 of each?
That one doesn't require any of the...
It doesn't require any
that's
crafting
regular
mats
material.
whatsoever.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that one's 50 regulars and 25 Death's Breath.
Yeah.
It's way cheap.
I mean, the one where you could change it, which you're probably going to get to next, to change a set item, that one definitely needed to be nerfed for...
Yeah, they've already said they're going to also.
Yeah.
So.
But, I mean, I didn't really... Because really targeted... I mean, there's a lot of legendaries in each slot. And if you really... I'm thinking it's not going to be, I want to get it perfect, but maybe I really need it to help me finish my X, or I can't get this to drop. Like those people that have played for 1,000 hours, and they're like, I've never seen an ancient blah. Now they can actually go for that.
And that's in theory what the Reforged Legendary is, but that one costs 5 of the new materials, which is just crazy. I didn't even do that one. So that one seems like it's easier just to get a random Legendary for almost nothing than it is to get a specific one that you have for like massive costs.
Yeah.
What's going to cost you 2 full games of cash farming?
I mean, it really depends on the drop rate on it, And I mean, if you get that really crappy one, everybody's gotten that super crappy Legendary. You're like, why did this even drop for me? You're like, okay.
To put it in the cube, obviously.
Yeah.
To give your cube power. Are we surprised? We had this whole debate on the podcast about how the cube power is going to be a whole RNG thing, and like you want to get a really good one. But if you get a really good roll on your furnace or whatever, do you want to put that in the cube? And it was like, no, they're all maximum. We're just always maximum, no matter what you play.
I'm really glad they did that, actually.
I wonder if they just didn't code it and then they can't be bothered to go put it back in. Because they never miss a chance to RNG, right?
Yeah, but if they didn't do it that way, then they have to make all the rest of the recipes cheaper, because you'd be constantly adding, like, oh, I got a new furnace. Oh, this one was 48%. Oh, this one's 50%. Okay, I'm good to go.
Yeah, we never have that in Diablo 3.
Oh, yeah.
Endlessly doing the same thing over and over again to get 1% better. Boy, that never happens in this game in items. Wouldn't want that at all, would we?
Nope.
I think they just forgot to color it, but I mean, who knows? But the one other point before the next recipe is that it's kind of hard to judge what materials are going to cost when we're starting in the middle of a non-new season.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, you go in there, you got 2,000 death breaths and 1,000 shards, and of course you can get souls. I mean, you can get 1 billion souls in a second with this stupid drop rate. So it's kind of hard to compare. At the start of the season, you only have you have 110 souls, and this recipe costs 50 at a time. You're not going to do that recipe a whole lot. Obviously you got to really count your money.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be different to see, and if they may adjust the costs and the farming rates, etc. So the next one is one you just mentioned, the incredibly overpowered one, convert set item. This one costs 10 Death's Breaths and 10 Souls, and it randomly re-rolls another one of the items in that set, never the same item you're rolling. And how does that work with two-piece item sets, Nerdwards?
I have no idea.
Exactly, good answer.
I actually have no idea. Why would anyone... I guess you're going to get the... Wait, yeah, I guess you get it immediately. Does that work that way?
Yep.
Oh, that's overpowered as shit. Yeah, that's bad.
You basically roll... If you get the two-piece, like a focus and restraint, you can roll it into a focus and then roll it back into a restraint, and then roll it into a focus and roll it into a restraint.
Wow, yeah, that's...
They're changing that. Yeah, no, they did. Because you could... In like a matter of minutes, you could get a perfect set of focus
there are
restraints.
Some skeevy people. I wouldn't even thought of that. Well, I keep most items in my stash. And when I did the character copy, I had all my two-piece sets just chilling, so I didn't even think about that as an option. Damn.
And I think, as they said in the Blizzard posted about this, saying we're going to fix that. Their idea was that, say you've got 5 pieces of your set and you cannot get that 6th piece. You know, this is the way you can just re-roll one until you get that 6th piece. And it's hard to get. Still, people were still using it for Ancients. I mean, I saw people using Barbarians. I've rolled a bunch of those trying to get a really good Ancient crossbow for my Natalia set.
Yeah.
Barbs are doing the same thing, trying to get their Ancient IK axe.
BK.
But it's hard where there's 7. Yeah, BK is too easy. BK is like, is like Shenlong.
Right,
you can just do the same one over and over again.
Same thing.
Yeah, so everybody who's been playing it all has this absolutely perfect Ancient focus and restraint now, because you can just roll it back and forth for almost nothing. And Blizzard said they are going to patch that. They're going to make it cost more. Maybe they'll limit how many times you can do each item instead of just going the same item back and forth 1,000 times. But you can see their heart was in the right place, but it's very exploitable and OP at this point.
Yeah.
And way too super cheap. I mean, if they make that one cost 1 each of the cash materials, something like that, it'll be a little more balanced, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, but I do like the original intent of it, which was like, because we've all been there at the beginning of the season. You're like, why do I keep getting Natalia's pants? Why can't I get the ring? Why can't I get the boots? It's like I always get pants. I get 10 pants, and I can't. So now you can be like, well, let me take those pants and try to turn it into something else.
Yeah, I love the idea, too.
I wish you could put in multiple set pieces, and it would guarantee whatever you put in, you will not get out.
That'd be kind of cool.
So you could put in pants, shoulders, boots, and helm, and you're guaranteed to get armor or gloves or something like that. That would be
really cool.
That would give you a reason to save them up, and of course, we have so much stash space, that'll be no problem. Lots of extra ones. And if you found 5 pants, you could keep rolling pants and different stuff until you've got 4 different ones, and then you're guaranteed to get, the ring or whatever you don't have, or a very good chance of it. But that would require that wouldn't be enough RNG, so I'm sure we'll never get that. The next item, the next recipe, which none of us have done, I'm sure, is the remove level requirement. And you put in any legendary item plus a level 25 or higher Gem of Ease, and it makes it have 0 level requirements. And of course, Gem of Ease only works in weapons normally, and you can make your weapon have 0%. But now you can make any item you want have 0%, 0 level requirement. And that'll really be important in softcore where you're worrying about those swings all the time, right, guys?
Right, yes, exactly. Very often.
You'll want a full set of your best 6-piece gear, all of 0 requirements, so you can make a new character.
Until you die leveling up in hardcore like I've done with a couple Gem of Eases, too. So.
Yeah, much less likely to die if you got a 6-piece set on at level 1. Yeah. So. But I think this one might be kind of funny, because as we mentioned, they're probably going to change Ursi in some way, but currently you can't, even if you finish it on time, there's no gem upgrade. So if you're not pushing your highest level of legendary, if you're not pushing your highest greater rift, you have nothing to do but upgrade the gem. And if you're not pushing your highest, you have 1% or less for the gems you're using, right?
Right.
So maybe you'll just keep doing Gems of Ease just for the hell of it, because what else have you got to do? So,
yeah.
If you're doing a bunch of GR40s for experience, of course, why would you? You can just do T9, but, just hypothetically speaking, right? Because you can't upgrade your gem key, your rift keys anymore, so you got to do something. So maybe you'll just keep doing Gem of Eases to make this just for the hell of it. But I was wondering if you have all geared up in this stuff, how fast could you go in softcore, leeching in someone's T10 rift, if you have all EXP gear on, including like level 70 Kane set, of course they've changed that now, but the best possible gear, level 70 gear, no level requirement, double experience gems in your helm, which you could not do before level 1, etc.
Yeah.
Could you get to level 70 in 3 minutes, you think? 5 minutes?
Yeah, probably ridiculously fast.
I would say pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it in like 15 minutes now without even gear on. You just sit at the stairs and you go from 45 to 62 on like 1 level.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if people will be able to literally go like 1 minute to GR, from 1 to 70 in like 2 minutes in a T10 rift. I think it's possible. I mean, you can do it in 5 minutes in T6 rifts, right?
Yeah.
So, who knows? Okay, next recipe. Convert 9 gems at once. That costs 50k gold from one of the recipe costs. You have to buy this gem of essence thing from Squirt in Act 2. I haven't done this because why? I've got 10,000 gems. But obviously early in the season when you want to get, as a Nerdwards is always out of topaz, right? So
yeah, it's gotten better the last few seasons with the Broken Crown, but yeah, this will help too.
Anyway, we'll find out.
It's a great. That's one of those things where it's just, I have a ton of whatever. Like, say I really wanted emeralds and I have a ton of topazes because I'm not playing an int class. I could finally use those topazes for something.
Mm-hmm.
And in theory, it's any level of gem. So I don't know if you're going to have 9 flawless royals, but you have 9 flawless imperial or something, and then that immediately becomes 3 flawless royals of whatever. Once you upgrade those again, right? Of the ideal class,
right,
or gem type. And I haven't done that in no one because at this point, obviously, the new season we'll see how that goes. And speaking of useful conversions, the last recipe we have in the cube is converts crafting materials, which I couldn't make it work at first until someone posted how it worked. I'm like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's kind of confusing in the description. But what you do is you put 100 of, or more, you can put a whole stack in, it'll subtract 100 from it, of white, blue, or yellow materials, and you put an item of the quality that you want and 1 death breath. So if you put 100 of your yellow materials and a white item, it will make you 100 white materials.
Yes.
You don't lose any materials. It's not 10 to 1 or anything. It just changes the color of them. And for most of us, I don't know what you guys' totals are on your gear right now in this season. Starting the PTR, I was something like 5k white materials, 6k blue materials, 35k yellow materials.
Yeah, I'm like 60, 70k yellow materials and like 300 of everything else.
So obviously you'll be, every time you come back to town with some white or blue material items, you will just stick those in the cube along with 100 yellow materials, and you have 100 of that material.
Right.
Which is a lot more than you get from salvaging.
Oh,
right, no. That's a great... My hope is they make the cube a little easier to operate in that regard. Like, yeah, I can take one thing and put it in there, but I want like drop-down menus and just pull it out of my stash and let me get what I need.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a great thing, especially for blues. It's like I always felt like I never had enough blues. Like no matter what, I could farm specifically for whites, but blues, now I don't have to go out of my way and like go to the battlefields of eternity and just look for white, for armor racks and stuff like that.
Or if you do, you can immediately have like I actually got one in a rift the other night and just picked up every white one. And you got like 35 whites in that level,
Right, yeah, if I'm going there, I'll get it. I had like
3,500 white materials just from that one level. Shiny.
No, I love it. It's a great idea.
And so, yeah, one of my first notes on the cube, I didn't mention it, but is interface stuff. It's kind of a pain to run across town from it. It should be next to the cache, ideally. I'm constantly going to the cube and realizing I have to go back and get those stupid, materials again. Get those act materials, and it's hard to get one of each thing from the. If you just want to grab one from a stack, it's like you got to go left click, enter, drag,
well, you can
drop.
Just put whatever you want in there. It'll take them out in that regard. It's just like I
want
to
pull them out of your stash, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying getting them out of the stash, and plus in hardcore you can't carry much extra crap around in your inventory forever.
I don't do that in softcore either. It drives me nuts. I don't know how people do it.
Too.
Yeah, but but obviously it's not quite the same penalty if
right. No, I agree.
But yeah, it needs to be a drop-down menu, as you were saying. It needs to be easier to do it. You can just right-click and it does stuff, but it doesn't tell you. This is just a sign of how old and lazy we are. I remember Diablo 2. Like, you didn't have drop-down shit in Diablo 2. No. You had to carry everything, and you had to read recipes on
a tiny ass little
tab
stash
out some browser to read the recipe.
Well,
so we're just soft and old and lazy now, basically.
Yes,
is that what we're saying?
Well, they've started to spoil us, and now I want more spoiling.
Exactly. And there are 2 other cube recipes that are undocumented, the secret ones. You can turn a bovine bardiche into the portal to the not the cow level.
Oh, they're undocumented. I didn't realize that.
And you can turn a puzzle ring into a portal to the vault. Only one of those per game, by the way. If you actually find the vault in a game, you cannot use that recipe in town.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which I discovered. I found one in the game.
I'm learning all kinds of things.
That probably also means if you find one in a game, you can't find another one in that game.
Yeah, there's only one per game, because the portal stays open forever once you find them, right? They never close. So if you go back to that area an hour later, it's still sitting there open, even though you've already cleared the whole level out.
And it gives me something to do with puzzle rings.
And so whatever so just basically save your puzzle rings, and I did one of those on T10 and got something like 160 million gold just in the first part of it, when the counter was running.
Nice.
So you can pick up 100. That was with no gold find stuff on. I mean, I actually think it was only TA. I don't think it even was T10. But you get a lot of gold, so that's certainly nice a quick pickup. And you just do it when you get a new game. Open that up, use your puzzle ring, boom, gold.
Gold.
And who knows? There may be some more recipes. They're not currently there. People have data mined them, but it's kind of a shame now. In the old days, we didn't have data mining so easily accessible. And there'd be a new cube. People actually experiment trying to find cube recipes. Now you just wait for some data miner to strip it out. Oh, here it is. No work. No must have fuss.
I kind of had
they should have a drop-down menu for Easter eggs.
Right? I had a nostalgia moment with that, trying to do the crafting materials conversion and the gems conversion. When I was trying to do those and it wasn't working, I felt like I was doing that in Diablo 2 again. Oh, dang, that's not working. Oh, these runes aren't working. Oh, dang.
You put the wrong thing in, You should take something out and it doesn't work. But
yep.
It is a little easier than D2's cube, but obviously there were so many millions of recipes for upgrading all the stuff. Just all the different tiers of items. You could upgrade, normals to exceptional and exceptional to elite and all that kind of stuff, and none of that exists in D3 now.
Yeah.
Well, not yet.
And we don't really miss it, honestly. I kind of like item scaling.
Yeah, it makes transitions much easier for sure. There's a lot about Diablo 3 that just streamlined the process.
Yeah, and we're still bitching about there's not enough of
it.
Yeah,
it's still bitching about how far away the cache is from how far away the Heraldric cache is, or the Kanai's cube, or whatever.
All the way across town, man.
It's so far.
I was vault once or twice to get there. I need quicker.
Yeah, people are always like, Kadala should be right next to Griswold. I have to run so far to salvage on my failed gamble.
If everyone had their way, then everyone would just be standing in a circle in town, so you could just go into a circle and just click everyone.
Like the new Witch Doctor set.
There you go.
One other thing about interface. What do you think about the interface for the powers in their cube? I mean, they show at the very bottom of your details on the your drop-down interface stuff, but you can't really see them at a glance. I feel a lot of people say they should show those on the skill menu.
I mean, but how often are you really going to forget? I mean, right now it's new, but you're going to be like, okay, this is what I've decided to use, so I'm going to do it, and you just hit the details and scroll to the bottom. It tells you what you have anyway.
Yeah.
I bet there's people who play this game who don't know you can scroll the details down to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, if you just
don't even know there's details.
Yeah, if you click the details and scroll to the bottom, it tells you what you have. But I mean, it's not like you're swapping. I mean, once you really get a good, core concept, or you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what. Most of the time, you're not really going to be changing it all that often. So I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I mean, it would be nice. I mean, it is nice when you look at the snapshotting and it's a nice picture and it shows you everything you have in one screen. That would be kind of nice, but.
Oh, that reminds me of the snapshotting thing was an issue. I've heard people come bitching about that. So now when you finish a Greater Rift, it shows you, next to your time, your best finish, it shows you exactly what your build was and your gear was, including your Kanai's cube stuff.
Oh yeah, that's how people bitch about it.
And I think that's really useful because people are always complaining. I want to know what this guy was using when he did the Rift. Now he's in his magic find gear. Now he's in his speed farming gear. I can't tell what he was wearing.
Yeah. And
people are complaining about that, but now I've seen a lot of people counter complaints saying, this is lame, because if you find a really new build that's awesome and you want to keep working on it and experimenting and don't make it public yet, people can all just see it from your Greater Rift time the second you get a record with it. So
yeah,
I think
you guys have opinions on that one way or the other?
I mean, as a ex-hardcore or a hardcore player at the time, I mean, it was nice because a majority of the people that were at the top of the leaderboards are now dead. So you had no idea how they did it or what they did it with. And, I mean, Diablo 3 is not like this ultra-competitive, esports game where you want to keep this hidden so you can actually win the next tournament and get to the top. It doesn't matter. The people that are going to be at the top are going to be at the top anyway because they're going to invest the time. And they're going to have the skill, and they're going to fish, and they're going to do everything that it takes to get to the top anyway. So I don't think it's really going to make that much of a difference. And it's not like there's these super secret builds out there. It's like we're being spoon-fed what our builds are from Blizzard. It's like, hey, you're going to wear this set, and you're pretty much going to use this legendary, and you might, have two different options when it comes to the Kanai's cube to really push Greater Rifts. Now, all this other stuff might work for farming T10 and, having a good time and speed farming and playing with your friends, but if you're pushing the Rifts, you're going to be playing this build.
Yep.
And so it's not like it's this huge secret, where, even other games where they're all legendaries and they're not sets and like, well, I didn't know you could combine these two legendaries to do something unique. It's not really happening. So I don't think the complaints are valid. Besides whining.
Do you agree, Nerdwards? Is he a filthy casual and he's wrong?
I don't think he's filthy casual and or wrong. I see both sides of it.
Is one of the above?
Yeah, I see both sides of it. Like I think it's gonna be more. It's gonna be more of an argument with the new patch because there's gonna be so many different options that that it's, I mean, like you said, like, you know, Blizzard's spoon feeding things right now, but there are very, like, different variations on builds that really send you up a couple different levels that most people end up finding out anyways through guides and videos and stuff that people post, but for the rare few out there that don't do that and keep things secret like that, it'll affect them, I'm guessing, but I mean, at the same time,
could you honestly name, like, well, I mean, I guess it would be impossible to say, hey, can you name a secret build, but can you honestly think of anyone who's at, like, in the top 10 of the leaderboards that are doing anything that's that different from the people that are in the top 20 on the leaderboards or the top 30 on the leaderboards?
Not the top 20 or top 30, but the top 1,000, yeah, for sure. Like, and
but I mean, to get to the top 1,000 doesn't take anything. You know, you can basically fart and get in the top 1,000.
It can. it can take something. It depends. It depends on your build. You know, it depends on what you're doing and what's going on. But if anyone can go to the leaderboards and just copy and paste someone's build, then yeah, then it wouldn't be a problem at all. But I guess that's really where the argument is that it doesn't matter. And I don't think it matters. I don't care for my stuff to be recorded at all. But I can see that side of the argument. I can see, you know, people that are trying to be ultra competitive with Diablo 3 to do that. Because yeah, you're right. It isn't ultra competitive. But at the same time, there is that aspect that, especially like with a lot of the streamers and stuff that play, like where they're trying to, you know, push as high as they possibly can and set.
The only thing I can even think of is when they did the what the hell was that weapon that monks were using, and it went with the Demon Hunter ability. Rest in pieces, the thing that made you rest in pieces.
Oh, Sever.
Yeah, I mean that was the only thing in recent history that I can think of that was like, you know, somewhat secretive throughout a whole season and became more popular or more well known into the second season. You know, but other than that,
there's a few things with the wizard class that the wizard like community keeps under wraps. Like there
right,
are
but I mean, you're saying wizard community, so like I could go to Reddit or the wizard forums or eventually find out about it if I just did a little research.
Right. I guess the big change makes it to where now you're going to see it on the official Diablo page, I guess. But it's just, I don't know. I don't think that the complaints are unwarranted. I do think that it's going to be fleshed out more, and that people are going to talk about it a lot more, because it is a big deal for a lot. I know a lot of people in the wizard community specifically have said stuff about it, and I've been reading a lot of. I don't care personally because I'm not up there right now, but I could see where it would be irritating if, I mean, say you clear, you know, you hit like, you know, number 1 on the leaderboards, right? And the guy was running a completely separate build that was below you, and then he copies and pastes your build and beats you. I could see the frustration in that. Now, mind you, is that warranted? I can't really say. It wouldn't bother me, but at the same time, I could see.
Yeah, but even like in the most, you know, if you look at like the most, like the ones that are esports, like you look at Dota or Smite or League of Legends, like even they do their best to make sure that builds and strats and everything aren't kept secret, so there's more competition. So, like, you know, there was in the beginning of Dota 2 when it first came out, I don't know if you guys ever played it, but, you know, they kept everything secret. Now they don't. Like, now they let you know because it creates more competition. You know, are you doing something because you're secret, or are you doing something because you have the skill to do it? You know, and that's that kind of thing, too.
Yeah, well, the other part of it, too, is with the RNG being a factor, like, that's not a factor in Dota. That's not a factor in a lot of those games.
Right, no, you're right. But that's where fishing comes into play.
Right, exactly, and it's I don't know, it's interesting to see, but like I said, it doesn't affect me at all, but I can see where the complaint is.
Yeah, I've always heard anecdotal tales of people who are pushing leaderboards and like hiding their build. You know, they'll do the leaderboard and they always make sure when they log off they have their generic speed farming gear on.
Yeah,
and people do figure out new combinations, and of course with the Kanai's cube, there's the hope that people will find some interesting synergies and some multiple combinations of items that somebody won't think of for a while. But,
right.
You know, I mean, it depends. I guess people just want to be secretive if they have something new, and when someone else has something new, they want to know what the secret is, because, you know, it's only because they're the special one. But
yeah.
But, I mean, I still think the top people are still going to be the top people. Like, you know, for monks, like, you got people like Quinn69 and, like, Netsumo and those kinds of guys that play the game, and they're going to be, no matter what it is, they're going to be at the top, because that is their goal, you know, so they're going to put in the hours to fish to get that perfect rift, to do the 100 rifts so they can do a 73 as opposed to a 72. And like, I still think the top players are going to be the top players. It just might, you know, condense the people at the bottom a little bit more.
And maybe they want to hide their super secret, powerful top number 1 build from you, though.
Well,
they no longer can.
Well, no, all of those guys make videos anyway. They're like, hey, this is how I did it, or they'll do it on a stream, so you just watch.
That's how they make their money.
Yeah.
I've often heard streamers who will turn off the stream when they have some new build going, and they don't want to reveal it until they have it all, you know, figured out and guarantee and stuff. Make it like a debut.
Yeah.
And now you can't do that anymore, because as soon as you get a GR, they don't show up.
And I think that's it. I think that having the option to show the build is one thing, but being forced to show the build with it being
if they
logged
want to
is a
keep it
problem.
secret too, they could always just, okay, I've done a 70, with a
you tank the GR at the last
I'll
minute?
just do a 69, or just tank it. Okay, this really works, but let me just let the time run out, or leave it. Leave the thing, or there's
they get to do their awesome legendary gem upgrades though.
Or if you've done a 70 with your standard build, you can be like, let me test the build on 69s. The difference between a 69.
Did you quit saying testing on 69s? I feel like I'm in junior high here.
If I did the build on a 71, let me just set it to 70. Because now it's, you can just pick whatever freaking riff level you want. It's not like it was before where you had to have all these keys. You're just like, okay, I've done a 71. Let me do my testing on 70, and nobody will ever know.
Okay, last topic I have listed up here is PTR first world problems. Obviously, it's, I have to go back and fill my blood shards again. More gambling? Oh, God. Your inventory is always full. Any other first world problems you guys have been horribly tormented by on the PTR?
Yeah, I want a salvage all legendaries button, so I don't have to sit there.
There's just thousands of garbage legendaries, man. It drives me crazy. My inventory is full of legendaries again. It's like you have to go to town every 5 seconds. I hate when it happens. And all that experience you get, there's a new paragon point like every 2 minutes. It's like, oh man, again?
I know.
And blood shards, like you said, now, if they let this go live, T10 is some 500 and something blood shards when you kill a Rift Guardian. That's a ridiculous amount of blood shards. I don't want to complain, but it's it felt, or if you'd find the double blood goblins, I would have to go back twice. I would fill up, and I have 1,000 blood shards, or 1,030, I think.
Well, shards are double.
I was about to say,
there's
a double buff for blood shards right now.
Oh, that was good God. I was just go.
250 I think is still cap.
Yeah, gamble.
The cap is actually the 250 cap is increased on Greater Rifts now.
Ooh, fancy.
It increases above GR42 now, whatever it used to be was the max.
Nice.
I didn't even notice because you get them doubled. I didn't notice how many it was, but that wasn't the patch notes. So
cool.
If you're doing GR70, you're probably getting 500 or 400 or something.
Yeah, it was ridiculous amounts of blood shards coming. So, but I guess by the time you're doing 70 anyway, you're really shooting for that specific upgrade, so it's kind of helpful. It feels like it all works in relation.
You think you probably got your build figured out by GR70?
I hope so. Yeah,
a little bit of testing is going into this.
A little secrecy, a little hiding. Yeah.
So what are you guys hoping for on the PTR coming up? Obviously shorter queues would be nice, but they mentioned that they're going to be. We always get new patches pretty frequently at the start. The only thing I've mentioned for sure is fixing that sets recipe. Obviously, some of the builds, you're talking about some of the new monk gear might be a little bit unbalanced, just slightly unbalanced, perhaps.
Well, I'm hoping they add some of the gear into the game that it's not in there, like the Lion's Claw for the monk.
Yeah, Season 4 would be nice.
Yeah, the Season 4 stuff would be nice. So they can actually add that in. Maybe from what I've been reading, I haven't played it, maybe a nice little buff to the Witch Doctors would be helpful in that regard.
Yeah, for the new Witch Doctor set's not that great. I was hoping to test that if I have a chance to play some Witch Doctor while there's still the super buff on. Of course, what you got to do is just get in a game with a friend and then just leech, because just run around behind him because you get, you're entirely filling your inventory up with legendaries every minute and a half.
The
you
key
can get a whole
is
new
get
60
into a game,
set in 10 minutes. So
the key is get into a game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you join a clan with lots of people.
Get into a game that has bounties still up.
Yeah, you got plenty of those though. Of course, it's a little harder. So any final thoughts? Just you're hoping for more PTR and soon?
Yeah, hopefully queue times drop a little bit, get some more testing time. I want to see the second and third passes at Veers, see how that kind of plays out. Because I really, as much as I don't want to play Archon because I played it so much in Vanilla D3, I'm really anxious to see how the Archon ability works out at the end of all this.
But it's all different now, man. It's totally different.
It's pretty different, but it's...
No, it's not. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, the controls are exactly the same, but the mechanics are vastly different.
Any last thoughts for you, Muggs?
No, I'm just waiting for the end of season announcement so I can be happy. The official end of season announcement.
Which they've said is still going to be in August at some point, but probably...
I'm assuming August 10th is what I'm guessing.
Let's see, lots of PTR stuff. Hopefully we get a little more testing in and have maybe some different classes, or should try some different builds out. I hope to try Witch Doctor. I can tell you my uninformed opinion on the Witch Doctor 6-piece set next week, perhaps. And not these other guys because they only play one class because they're not hardcore like me.
I actually am going to jump in and
try
test
all
Witch Doctor
classes
soon. I want to.
That is such a lie.
No, the Wall of Death thing sounds really cool.
It sounds cool. It's just really clunky.
Is it?
Yeah. The Witch Doctor was so much fun on closed beta vanilla. And after that, it just became not fun. It's like every iteration has been less and less fun.
And people were thinking Witch Doctor would be the most buffed by the cube because he's so bottlenecked by helms and weapons, and now you can get 2 of each. But apparently not enough to compete with other classes still.
Sad story.
Okay, you've been listening to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at Diablo II.net, and we've had lots of news and updates about the PTR stuff. I'm sure Nerdwards will be writing up a big article about all the new awesome sets of Veer's set pretty soon, and possibly even the Arcane set. He loves the Arcane set. It's his favorite one ever. He hasn't played it much either. And how no one likes Tal Rashes anymore because it's old and boring and meteors.
Whatever, I love Tal Rashes. That's what's up.
You'll have to get over that. That'll be when I stop playing the Talia set. You can stop playing Tal Rashes, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, thanks guys for your time, and good luck on the PTR. And you've only got 3 hours and 17 minutes on your queue right now at Nerdwards, so you're almost there.
It's actually
it's a podcast, and you're ready to jump in.
It's at 13 hours right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the numbers are a lie, by the way. I mean, it'll say 4 hours, and you get it after 20 minutes sometimes. So.
That's what I want. That's what I want out of the PTR. I want that to be fixed. Not the fact that there is a queue, obviously, that can't be fixed, but just tell me what the accurate fucking time is so I can plan my life accordingly.
Well, you can't because people are camping them, too, and not leaving.
Oh, the struggle.
And people join games someone else has open already, so they don't leave the queue, that kind of thing. So it can actually go. It can go backwards. You get the queue getting longer.
So the people jumping in games after people are signing off is essentially like the guy that tries to get in the left lane to pass when that's the lane that's blocked off and causes a traffic jam.
Says the man who got stuck in traffic on the way home.
Yes. So okay, new rage. I like it.
Okay, guys, thanks for your time. The secret. I have not found a Bardiche. That's the one problem playing a Demon Hunter. You never find pole arms. So I don't get to do the Bardiche's bovine. I can't do bonus cow levels for fun.
Oh, much disappointing.
I should play on Monk some more. If I can get a cow level. Moo.
Moo. Moo. Moo. Moo. Moo. Moo. Moo. Moo. Moo.